Hi there, I'm Eric here at the Future Hub, MICO, as otherwise it's known, here at the Kyoto University of Foreign Studies. We've set up open campus around. We've got a bunch of different things going on. We've got VR over here, augmented reality set up over here. But this particular space right down here is something that's unique and probably one of the only labs that I know in Kyoto that has this particular mixed reality setup. This is a different kind of augmented reality, as it uses projectors inside a set of goggles. And let me see if I can see what you see, what I see through these lenses and what another person sees through another lens is quite different, because the lens is being projected out of the goggles, hits the reflective surface, and comes back at your own perspective. So we can have tons of people around these kind of digified, gamified digital board games that we're playing today. And thinking about ways to use this in different educational contexts in teaching and learning. You can see right now they have a setup to play basically some 2- and 3-player games. One of the most interesting ones in this particular demo session is a marble race, where basically this table becomes a big pit and you're looking down inside of it, and marble gets run around a track and you have to guide it and race the other marbles that other students are standing around, other players are standing around looking at. Here in the space though, for research purposes, in different contexts, we're using it for different purposes. For example, for tourism studies here at the Global Tourism Department, we're using it in context with virtual tours. So you'll take a virtual tour here in the lab using some of the other components, equipment, and spaces here. And we'll show some artifacts, some souvenirs, other 3D models where you can walk around it, kind of see what it's like, expand it, look at it, for historical preservation, for marketing and sales, for souvenirs and other products related to tourism. We're using it for other contexts as well. It's mainly kind of an experimental piece our students are working on here at the Future Hub at the Kyoto University of Foreign Studies. We've got a couple of other components around the lab that I'm going to try to introduce to you as we go through the sessions during these 3 days for Open Campus here at the beginning of August 2024. Again, I'm Eric. We'll see you in a couple other videos exploring the space. All right, Eric back again here at the Future Hub, otherwise known as MICO, our immersive learning space here at the Kyoto University of Foreign Studies. We're expecting some visitors these 3 days, the beginning of August 2024, but we've set up some spaces around the lab for open campus, and we've set up some experiences, some demos, and project that our students are using augmented reality, virtual reality, artificial intelligence, and other emerging technologies in different contexts for projects all over campus in many departments. This area right here, we have a bunch of VR headsets set up and displayed here, so students can come in, take a few demos, and other students that are perhaps in line, we can give some quick safety tips about how to use VR and what to expect when getting into VR for the first time. Over here on the other end, walk over here, we have a couple other more advanced devices for students that or visitors that perhaps have a little more experience with virtual reality and want to experience some other more unique things using this. But as far as students goes here at the university, we're using these technologies in various contexts around different departments all over campus. For example, our global tourism students are using them to create hometown tours on something called the My Hometown Project, where they learn about these technologies as how they relate to tourism, design of tours, and also this technology how it relates to marketing and other promotional aspects of the technology as far as a tool to communicate through the lens on the internet. And so that particular project, the My Hometown Project, students are using the headsets and other places around this particular lab to share tours, to create tours, and it's also become a bit of a global cultural exchange kind of platform. So you walk in, you put on a headset, and you get put in the shoes of a former student or a student that lives or grew up in another part of the world, and you get to hear their voice, look around where they grew up, and hear stories about what it's like to grow up in these places. And for my part, as a researcher, as a teacher, I found this one of the most rewarding experiences that I've been involved with as a product or a research project around these technologies. So students are building empathy and seeing what it's like living in the shoes or stepping in the shoes of other people all over the world. And they have a lot of things to say about it as far as building rapport, thinking differently about different cultures, and building that empathy across different areas, religions, cultures, etc. So this is the VR area that we set up for the open campus here at the Future Lab, otherwise known as MICO. Hi there, Eric back again at our open campus here at the Kyoto University of Foreign Studies at the Future Hub, otherwise known as the MICO Lab. We're in one of our side rooms showing off different ways we're using different technologies, artificial intelligence, augmented reality, virtual reality, etc. And in this particular room, showing off one of my own applications that I've developed for augmented reality called Reality Labo. It's a set of playing cards that is connected to a web app and a smartphone application. And using that web app and that smartphone application, you can attach any digital contents to the physical world. And students are using them to create games and gamified tours of campus, things like a Pokemon Go situation. So we have some iPads set up here and some cards behind them. You can see that these cards are showing digital things on top of the physical cards. And we have a couple of videos over here on the side to explain some of the ways that the students are using some of these products and applications and how they're using them for their studies in different ways. Reality Labo is this project I started over 10 years ago, about 2014. And since then, it's grown into a lot of different wonderful research projects that students are using in different ways. All right. Eric back again at the Future Hub, the Kyoto University of Foreign Studies, just before open campus, kind of the calm before the storm. I'm showing off different sections, different research projects, and different ways we're using emerging technologies like augmented and virtual reality to help support teaching and learning here at KUFS. This is not necessarily latest technology that I'm showing off in this section of the laboratory, but it's an interesting enough to have a little bit of discussion about. So gamified experiences, game-based learning, as a part of a course I teach called New Media Lab and gamified experience design. I've developed a series of role-playing digital games where you take the role of me, a character called Eric, and you go on these adventures through time and experience how the evolution of communication technology has shaped society, starting when moving from the Library of Alexandria and the housing of scrolls and them being burnt, to the first movies being produced, to social media proliferating, and now the use of virtual and augmented reality and how that's changing the way humans are communicating, how we live, work, grow, and understand ourselves and each other. So as this game progresses, students can come here to this corner, play this web-based game, get a link, maybe play it after they go home. It's the first in a series of these games that I introduce as a part of some of my coursework, so they get a taste of what it's like and some of the different ways that I'm using technology in some of my classes to augment and support the teaching and learning of the content that we have here at the Kyoto University of Foreign Studies. This particular game is called TechComs, Adventures in Technology Communication. And this particular adventure, you go back in time to the age of ancient Egypt, and you're visiting the Library of Alexandria just before it is attacked and burnt, and you talk to some people, figure out why this information is considered dangerous to some people and not to others, and your mission is to save some important information through time before teleporting back to present day and understanding that whole situation as it relates to how we use technology to store and proliferate information through time. Right, here at the Future Hub, just before some students are showing off some different things that we're showcasing here in the Future Hub and MICO laboratory space as we're using emerging technologies to support teaching and learning at our institution. This isn't necessarily an example of technology, but I set up a corner where students are sharing their own testimonials of how they have used this technology in their projects. One of the most gratifying things of spinning up a lot of these projects and fostering and supporting technology use is after teaching students how to use this technology and how it's being used in other case studies, they have taken the technology forward and starting to use it in other very novel and unique ways. And some of these students are using virtual reality for migration studies, if you can believe it or not, or using augmented reality for showcasing things like architecture and culture studies while going on different tours around Kyoto Station, talking about things like over-tourism and using the technology to disperse large groups of people in a more safe and gamified way to use the elements of digital contents and game theory to kind of have less concentrated amounts of tours and tourists in different places. Just some students giving some testimonials, and hopefully this will give our visitors a little bit of idea of not just the classes that I'm teaching, but some of the ways that students are taking what we're teaching here, or how we're facilitating the use of technology in our curriculum and how they're taking that to the next level and showing us how it might be used in the future. Eric back again here at the MICO Open Campus Future Lab, and we're here having demonstrations in virtual reality, augmented reality, everything in between, from the U Theater to the headsets, most popular part probably of the tour. But I'd just like to talk about the pain point of scaling this technology, especially in educational contexts. It's usually understanding, for example, in this particular lab we bought a couple dozen headsets, and it's the idea that you can use them up to the amount of equipment you have. But there's also the need for personal space, care for people going into them, and there's always the first time people get into this space, they need to understand how to use it. So behind me, there's a group of people getting acclimated into virtual reality, an experience made by Meta as one of the first experiences, kind of like a tutorial to show you how to move your hands, how to integrate, how to actually move your body inside of a virtual space. And so through these little simple things, they need to be guided. They need to be told how to put on the headset, how to understand their interpupillary distance to where it's comfortable and not overstraining on their eyes, what to do with your glasses and your things, how to make sure that you don't hurt somebody in your personal space. There's quite a long list of things. And also different levels, different age groups need extra care or need watching, especially when they're using this for the first time. Then there's also things like some people are not well suited for this thing. They get cyber sickness quickly more than others. Some people need to be reset or watched over because they're in a headset, and so they need to be watched to see if everything's going okay. So it's not necessarily easily scalable for large amounts of people. We've seen other partners and our research colleagues use things like auditoriums and basketball courts for large-scale deployment of these items, because you need that much personal space to deploy them. And so also onboarding, managing the amount of people sometimes requires extra software, monitoring software, managing software to both update and keep control of the headsets and what the software that's available to them, but also to see what's going on in individual headsets to make sure that they're doing the right thing. Depending on what you're doing in the classroom, that might be important, because you might have a small group of people inside of a virtual environment where you want them to be doing certain things, or you want to guide them through a specific exercise, whether that be vocational training, how to repair a jet engine, or work in a chemistry lab, etc. And having these kinds of spaces that's able to monitor them, but more importantly also having the staff on hand that understands them and being able to look over a certain amount of group of people. We found that today we have just 3 people working in the lab, and we only put out 4 of all of our headsets at a time, because that's what we feel is comfortable for us, because we're also talking with people. We're actually having different areas with augmented and mixed reality that are around. You can see probably other videos about those as well. So the scalability of VR is still quite challenging, and we're working through some of the issues here at the Future Hub at Kyoto University of Foreign Studies, but we're also finding out a lot of things along the way that will help bring these technologies to more people and have it more accessible to more students. Hello there again. Eric back here at the Future Hub, otherwise known as MICO, here at the Kyoto University of Foreign Studies. We're here on day 3 of our 3-day open campus, open lab experience. We've had many students come in over the last couple days, try out VR, try out AR, try out MR, play some games, learn about the future of these technologies as it relates to tourism, marketing, business, etc. But before we get our rush of people coming in today, I just wanted to quick show off the main kind of centerpiece of the Future Lab, and it's called the U Theater. Maybe you can see it over on the side over here. The U Theater, named for the shape of this installation, but also taking a hint from YouTube, thinking about the person and the creator of it. We have headsets here in the lab, but the thing about headsets is that, of course, they need to be managed. It's a little bit difficult, or it has been difficult for us to scale with the headsets, especially with large groups of students at the same time. At a distance, it might be a little bit easier, but here in the lab, we also want groups of people to share a space together and consume content that's meant for virtual reality, and that's what this space is all about. And one of the main vehicles from which to use this space is our global tourism students in a project called the My Hometown Project, where students in their 3rd year through the course of study of tourism and hospitality, they learn about virtual reality, augmented reality, and some case studies that it's being currently used around the world with these technologies in different contexts related to the industry. But then they learn how to create a tour in virtual reality. We talk a little bit about storytelling, a little bit about designing tours, guiding tours, and how to present and progress through tours to make a good one anyway. And then we talk about the design of virtual tours, what kind of media goes into them, and they spend the last several weeks, over a month actually creating their own virtual tours of their hometowns, which they are experts of. So through this process, over the last between 5 and 10 years, this program has evolved in several ways, but one of the most rewarding things about it, it is kind of evolving past tourism and hospitality, and the university is now adopting it into, for example, language learning and pre-study abroad applications and other things like that, because now we have this database of tours, which I can show you. But you can see we have tours from Italy, China, Asia, all over the world. And so now it started with our exchange students here at the university, but now we're getting partner universities. We're doing workshops in different countries, and this has become a way to have a platform in which to do some cultural exchange and understanding. And so you get to put on a headset or come in a space like the youth theater and jump in the shoes of somebody from that town and listen to their stories and walk through a park in a rural area in Japan or in a mall in Dubai or whatever that situation might be. And it's a lot of empathy building, a lot of rapport building that's happening, a lot of great pedagogical learning points as well, as far as understanding other cultures, understanding other languages, understanding each other and where they come from and their perspective through these technologies. And so students are coming in here today. I'm giving a little very quick, trying not to speak too much, lecture about this particular project and letting the students take a few of the tours in this space of perhaps a hometown that's close to where they come from, so they can actually see a story of a student that's currently at the university or has graduated, that's from their hometown, and listen to their story, and just to see the resonation between that for a potential or prospective student has been quite powerful in using this technology in this particular way. This particular project, I'm really energetic and optimistic about finding other partners. We've already partnered with university in France and Italy and the Philippines, but if you're watching this and this kind of project interests you, I really encourage you to reach out. I can do perhaps a workshop with you and your students to get their stories into the database, and they can experience some other students that have offered their stories in their hometowns in this way as well. Get a little more understanding and spread stories and empathy throughout students all over the world. All right, so that's been the U Theater Space. My name's Eric, here at the Kyoto University of Foreign Studies at the MICO Lab. See you later.